Hello, you've been through 8 weeks so far of getting really curious about what you value, what's important, what your strengths are. You did an audit of your commitments and your obligations, and you thought about which commitments are going to stay on and which ones you think you need to get rid of. You also started to check out your mindset, self-limiting beliefs, and your values. You've also trialled 3 strategies to assist in managing overwhelm, specifically about prioritising your workflow or your tasks at hand, why boundaries are essential to reducing overwhelm and anxiety, multitasking and why it's not a great strategy to use, and how to implement chunking instead. Critical to managing overwhelm and stress in our lives is a daily practice of self-care. I've had you using meditation, gratitude, and affirmations. So this phase 3, which is the last phase of Overhaul Your Overwhelm, is about creating the life that you want. You will hear me referencing the previous 8 weeks of content. So if you have forgotten any of it, or you need to refresh your memory, make sure you go back and refer to the videos. So phase 3 is called Create, and it's about creating the life you want. It will run for 4 weeks, and it is in this phase that you will pull together everything and start taking action to map out the life and the future you want. Today you're going to start with a personal vision statement. And your personal vision statement will guide your life and provide the direction necessary to chart the course of your days and the choices that you make about your career, your life, and your family. Think of your personal vision statement as those aisle lights in the plane that highlight where you are heading. Writing a vision statement is the first step in focusing on your life. It can help put things into perspective, your joy, your accomplishments, your family life, and the contributions that you provide. You've possibly heard this quote before, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? So this is all about really getting curious about what is it that you would do. How are we going to do this? So back in the beginning, I talked about journaling, and journaling is advocated by many people for a long time as a key activity for really getting to understand yourself through some self-reflection. So you could either start by doing a journal or looking through a journal that you may possibly already have for some hints about your behaviours, your values, your morals, your thoughts, and the feelings that are important to you. To do this, we're actually going to ask ourselves some guiding questions. So in this, it requires you to be super honest with yourself. Your answers can help you clearly illustrate what your vision is. And if you fudge your answers or you're not telling the truth to yourself, you will not create a vision that is uniquely yours, and then you're not going to actually have any ownership on it. And then you will think, oh, this is a waste of time. So as you collect information on yourself, I want you to take time to formulate your thoughts cohesively into descriptive sentences or paragraphs that summarise single values or characteristics. So we have done a stack of this work already. So some questions you could ask yourself, which are similar to some of the questions that you are asking yourself in phase 1. What are 10 things that you most enjoy doing? These are the 10 things that without them, your weeks, your months, your years would feel incomplete. Another question is, what are 3 things you must do every single day to feel fulfilled in your work? Are you able to recall your 5 or 6 most important values from the values work we've done? Another question, if you never had to work another day in your life, how would you spend your time instead of working? Or another one, when your life is ending, what will you regret not doing, seeing, or achieving? You could consider what strengths of yours have other people commented on, and how have those strengths and comments affected the work that you do and your accomplishments? We've done a lot of work on strengths. What strengths do you see in yourself? And what weaknesses of yours have other people commented on? What do you believe are your weaknesses? So once you have actually, started to gather this information, you're actually ready to design your own personal vision statement. So we write the vision statement in first person, and you charge yourself to take control of your destiny by crafting realistic goals that reflect the characteristics and concepts you have identified. Write the statements as if they're already happening in your life. I call this telling the truth in advance. Don't count your words, and fully articulate the vision that you wish to achieve. Don't get hung up on the grammar and the structure of it. Let's just see if you can get it down. So people tend to accomplish goals, dreams, plans, and visions that they've written down. Writing down your goals, for instance, lends power and commitment and creates a way that you can hold yourself accountable. Your personal vision statement can, and most likely will, change over time depending on what's happening in your life. However, at all times, they are aligned with your personal core values. When people live and experience the components of their personal vision frequently, they tend to say that they feel happy, they feel fulfilled, and they love their life. This is because the personal vision statement is a guide written by and for you and your life, which is why it's critical we need to be 100% honest with ourselves. So what I'm going to get you to do is I want you to envision your life. So think about how you would like your life to be, without barriers, as if money was absolutely no option, as if I am your fairy godmother and I'm granting you every wish, and then when you woke up the next morning, you'll find that they've all come true. By being really open and not thinking about potential barriers will help to shift you from fear-based and a conditioned headspace. It will help shift you out of pessimism and into possibilities and into what could be. What would you like to do? What does the world need? What difference are you going to make? Think about your talents, your strengths, and your abilities. Develop your weaknesses and seize opportunities. Lots of people live a life where they feel unfulfilled because they're negatively influenced by circumstances around them, such as meaningless or boring work, or the constant struggle to survive. So regardless of whatever your circumstances are, there are endless possibilities passing by, with the world constantly changing, innovating, and creating new opportunities. So think back again to that quote that I said. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? So while we're still on this line of questioning, I want you to consider, are you unsatisfied with your life or parts of your life? Do you actually know what you really want? Or are you being conditioned as to what successful means? Or are you conditioned as to what fulfilled means? I know that when I've asked women why they thought a career was important, I've listened to what they've said, and because they had an idea of what a successful woman does, and a successful woman has a career. So they've been conditioned. And when you think about whether you want children or you don't want children, for some women it's more of an idea that you have children and that will equal fulfillment as a woman. So get really clear if you are being conditioned by society or expectations of others. Because you know what? You're more likely to get what you want when you know without a doubt what it is. To help you get clear, I'm going to give you a strategy called the 3 whys. Now this is not my strategy that I came up with by myself. This is one that I'm lending from another coach. So this is how it works. As you're going through and you're thinking about what it is that you want to do and the things that you want your life to be, when you think you want something, I want you to ask yourself why you want it. And this isn't necessarily going to come just like that, click of the fingers. But why is it that you want it? And get really curious, are you being conditioned by society or others' expectations? Is it an expectation of your parents? Is it what they think successful is? And I know that I've been tripped up when for me to be successful equaled a particular thing for my parents. And when I actually got really clear on that a few years ago, I was like, crikey. In terms of being tripped up by conditions. So when you think you want something, I want you to ask yourself why you want it. And then I want you to ask yourself why. What do you really, really want? Getting to the core of what you really want starts to reveal your true purpose and what you care most deeply about. Your precious values. Sometimes when we find the answers to these questions, we discover the things that we thought we wanted were the things that someone else convinced us was what we wanted, not what we truly desired. Because sometimes we buy into other people's dreams for us, such as our parents, our teachers, our friends, and we actually lose touch with our own dreams. If you think your life hasn't turned out the way you planned, it's time for a reality check. What is it that you really want? Now, this is not going to happen overnight, getting clear on your vision. It requires time for reflection, using both the logic and the feeling perspective, so both parts of our brain. Vision comes from your own desires, your hopes, your dreams, and your values. And when you create a vision that resonates with your purpose and values, it generates energy, commitment, passion, and magical things start to happen. Okay, so here's some more questions or some guidelines to help you reflect on your vision. Because we have to get really clear on what it is that we want. So number 1, focus on what really matters to you. Ask yourself, what do I want to do? Rather than, what should I do? What are your life's aspirations? What do you value? What are your talents? At the end of my life, what do I want to have accomplished? Because these are the principles that will anchor your vision. Number 2, another guideline is to use those 3 whys. So each time you think you have an answer, Ask yourself, why do I want that? Dig down into what is fundamentally important to you. I'm also going to suggest and encourage you to respond thoughtfully, because it's not going to come to you all at once. Consider these questions over days, weeks, and then write down what comes to you. Be honest with yourself, embrace your vulnerabilities, and leave behind what is referred to as social armour, the things that we hide behind, those masks that we wear, the excuses that we make. So our egos, the material things, all of that to protect ourselves from actually doing the work, showing up, living big, and from being vulnerable. 3, be proactive and not reactive. Create a vision for you, one that you want to move towards, not one that you want to move away from. Focus on where you want to go, not what you want to leave behind. The 4th guideline is give yourself permission to explore, to dream. Be creative, be playful. Use your right brain, because the logic side, the left side, can kick in later. The 5th guideline, spend some relaxed time dreaming and imagining. What would the results look like? What will be accomplished? How will you feel about yourself? And I've spoken before about really feeling. What is that feeling? Because when you feel that feeling, that's what will also anchor you back and go, I've achieved what I want to achieve. Think about how you will feel about others. So focus on the end result, not on the process of getting there. And number 6, because this is what stops so many of us, is don't limit yourself by what you think might be possible. A vision can help you overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Don't worry about, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? What about the money? All those sorts of things, because that will stop you and it will keep you living small and not living the life you love. Ultimately, how you express your vision statement is how you will spend your life. Okay, now just a couple more tips. There's no right or wrong vision statement. It's yours and it's there to serve you and only you. Whether you choose to apply it to one or more aspects of your life. When you've spent time writing it down, revising it, refining it, you will have your own personal vision statement. Make it bold, make it visible, because that will help keep you accountable every single day. Have it up somewhere. My personal vision statement is to accelerate overwhelmed and stressed professional women over 40 to powerfully reconnect with themselves and realise their own worth. That's my business mission. So, there's a lot of questioning to do, and this week you're going to dig deep asking yourself questions to determine what your purpose is and in turn what your vision is. Give yourself the time and the space to do this. Look back over the work that you have done thus far. I want you to be mindful of your default negative thought patterns that might creep in. Actually, not might, definitely will creep in. I want you to continue to practice meditation, gratitude, and your affirmations daily. See you next week.